I'm just a musician, and I'm really proud of my album, and I'm happy that people like it as much as me, because I'm so proud of it. I guess what I listen to influences what I write. I'm not a very premeditated person, I guess. I don't really do things consciously. It's just what I like listening to, and
Back to Black isn't just an album title. It also embodies everything Amy was going through at the time. From heartbreak and addiction to the pressures of fame and being in the spotlight. It was a feeling, a state of mind.
I guess from being around the block, I guess people know that I don't really do what I'm told to do, or that I don't really care enough about what people think of me to conform to anything.
Released on October 27, 2006, it was a mirror into Amy's soul. Pain, love, regret, and longing poured from every note. On this episode of Eras Defined, we're diving deep into the album that captured a generation, reshaped soul and jazz in the 2000s, and left an undeniable mark on music, even though it came with the haunting story behind the woman herself. Amy Winehouse was no stranger to music or struggle. Born September 14, 1983, in Southgate, North London, she grew up immersed in jazz, soul, and Motown, thanks to her parents. She learned to play the guitar and songwrite by the age of 14, and by 18, she had got her first official record deal with Island Records. Her debut album, Frank, being titled after her main influence, Frank Sinatra, introduced her soulful voice and clever songwriting. It's essential to understand the artistic journey that led her to Back to Black, but it was still laid back compared to what would come next. She also felt like she didn't have full control, leaving her unpleased with the final result. By the 2000s, British music was ready for a change. Pop was polished, radio-friendly, and somewhat safe. But Amy's voice, raw lyrics, and jazz-infused style promised something darker, deeper, and painfully authentic.
And it's just funny how all my singles are geared on this man. I've written quite a few songs for this ex-boyfriend, but that's just because I was writing the album at the time, and it just so happens that all the singles are like heartbreak. Like they're the three songs from when we split up, like the serious songs. So I might never be able to get a boyfriend again.
After the release of Frank, Amy was frustrated with her label and the music industry as a whole. She started retreating from the spotlight and went back to living her more normal life. Relationship issues with Blake fed her alcohol addiction, and it changed her music writing. It became more confessional and dark. Her sound changed, and also her intent. Was she ready to step back into the spotlight and tell her story? Amy began working on Back to Black in 2005, collaborating with producer Mark Ronson. He first previewed her demo tracks Rehab and You Know I'm No Good on his New York's East Village radio show. He would later go on to co-produce her entire album, along with longtime friend Salaam Remi. Influenced by 1960 girl groups, soul, and Motown, the album's production blended retro stylings with a modern edge. But behind the studio doors, the real influence was her relationship. When I tell y'all it was the definition of toxic, it was a storm full of codependency, heartbreak, and addiction, fueled by their toxic understanding of love. Their first breakup really steered the album's songwriting. and it was when she heavily started abusing alcohol. Tracks like Rehab, You Know I'm No Good, and Wake Up Alone were autobiographical, with Rehab being written after her label suggested she get help for her alcohol and drug addiction.
I had about a year and a half off, and I was drinking a lot, not anything terrible. I was just trying to forget about the fact that I had finished this relationship. And my management at the time thought I was, I wasn't working, so I didn't see them a lot. They just kind of stepped in and thought they were being the good guys by just stepping in and strong-arming me into a rehabilitation centre, but just didn't really need it.
Amy was writing her truth without shame. She channeled her pain into melodies that were beautiful, haunting, and eerily honest. The type of honesty that is uncomfortable to hear at times. It's so relatable, it lingers with you all day. It lingers because it isn't just her story, it becomes ours. That's how much weight her honesty holds, and she was finally ready to release it to the world. When Back to Black dropped on October 27, 2006, critics were stunned. Amy's voice, delicate yet powerful, conveyed heartbreak in a way they had before in the Motown days. The album fused jazz, soul, and contemporary R&B, bridging generations. Every track felt intimate, like Amy was confiding directly to the listener, sharing her highs, her lows, and her regrets. I was only 5 when this album dropped, but I definitely remember Rehab being played everywhere. I didn't really understand the depth of the words at the time, but that was the magic. Expressing pain on a catchy melody anyone can enjoy. The hits were hitting too. Back to Black, Tears Dry on Their Own, and Love is a Losing Game painted such relatable stories of love lost, betrayal, and often the unfair balance of life. In Rehab, she says so transparently, I don't ever want to drink again. I just want a friend. Knowing what will eventually come, this is a hard listen. Chills every time. The title track, which appears in the center of the album, really sums up everything and why we are here at this moment anyway. She explains how his infidelity and her fear of life without him leaves her in such a dark space. When he fucks up, she resorts back to her addiction, the temporary fix with the fatal result.
Back to Black is about being in a relationship that when it's finished, you go back to what you know, except that I wasn't working, so I couldn't go and throw myself back into work. Right. And where the guy I was seeing went back to his ex-girlfriend, I didn't have anything to go back to, so I guess I went back to a very black few months, doing silly things.
The album's success brought Amy fame, but fame didn't bring any peace. Pressure, public scrutiny, and personal demons followed her every step. Media obsession with her relationship and substance struggles overshadowed the artistry. This album was almost like a double-edged sword. While it brought mainstream attention to her talent, it also exposed her vulnerabilities. Her live performances caught the attention of fans and people started to worry. Listeners were captivated by her honesty, but the world couldn't protect her from the personal battles she was fighting behind the music. Back to Black became a global phenomenon. It won 5 Grammy Awards in 2008, including Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Vocal Album. Amy became the first British woman to win 5 Grammys in one night. It was a slow burn in the US until it actually hit. Debuting at number 7 in March of 2007, eventually it peaked at number 2 a year later on March 1st, 2008, because of all the Grammy attention she got. The album went on to spend an additional 163 weeks on the chart, making it one of the longest charting albums in history. Musically, it inspired an entire generation of artists. Adele, Duffy, and even modern neo-soul singers cite her as a massive influence. She eventually would seek treatment and go to rehab for 2 years. Despite that, she couldn't shake her pain, and it became a weapon used against her. Amy is a legend for what she gave to the world. Her story is so raw, it touches everyone. Her music remains timeless because it's vulnerable and unapologetically real. Back to Black isn't just an album, it's a reminder of brilliance in the balance of love, loss, and the ultimate cost of fame.
For me, there was no other music than jazz, apart from hip hop, that I could really grow with. I needed to hear some music that I could connect to emotionally, with an emotional lyric as well as some nice music.
If you felt the power and emotional depth of this era, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next one. There are more musical journeys ahead on Eras to find. Keep listening, keep feeling, and I'll see you in the next video.